Sup y'all, I'm Intricately Random Asian, or Ira for short. Thank you very much for clicking on this random video that you happened to stumble upon on YouTube. If you've been here for a while, welcome to another load of randomness, but with an interesting purpose, because today we're actually going to have a culinary session. I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to eat a lobster, because right now it seems like it's lobster season. I've been seeing a lot of people ordering lobsters and cooking them at home. Lobsters are actually one of my favorite seafoods and I just love eating them. It's super fun. But for a lot of people, it may be the first time that you actually crack a lobster open and you probably don't know how, or maybe you've been doing it the wrong way for a long time. So I'm here to help you make eating a lobster a lot easier. So before we actually begin with the tutorial, you're going to want to prepare a few materials beforehand. Let's start off with the utensils you're going to be needing. So you're going to want to have a cracker, like a metal one, so that it doesn't crack when you try to crack the shell open. Next up, you're going to want to have a lobster fork. It's a pretty long and thin little fork that allows you to go into the really small holes and to get all that meat. So yeah, lobster fork. And then some paper towels, because you actually need these to wipe your hands and your face, because eating a lobster can get pretty messy. An extra bowl to put all the carcass and the shells that you're going to be removing. And a little bowl of lemon. For me, when I eat a lobster, half a lemon usually does the job. And for this one, I actually added just a little extra dash of salt because the lobster that we got actually came in already cooked. So I just added some salt just to re-put some flavor that may have been removed because of the cooking process, like the natural salt may have evaporated. So I just added some extra salt in there, but it's really up to your preference. But I like it extra salty, so. And of course, you're gonna need your lobster. I actually had to reheat mine for this. Still in the pot, so let's go get it. Look at that, isn't it a beauty? So to reheat your lobster, you just need to put a little bit of water back into the pot and let it boil for a while, and it should be ready to be eaten in no time. Before we actually eat the lobster, if you have really long hair like me, you're gonna want to tie that up. Okay, unless you want to share your lobster with your hair, then go ahead and leave it loose. But I mean, I personally never share food, so I tie it up, okay? Say hi. Hey, I'm ready to be eaten. Okay, sorry. My mom actually taught me to never play with my food, so don't play with your food, guys. It's not cool. Okay, so now that our lobster is ready and plopped onto the plate, what I like to do to begin eating my lobster is actually just, you know, tearing it apart open like that in half. So you separate the top part of the body from the tail, and I actually like to start eating the tail first. I don't know why, it's just a personal preference. How you actually eat the tail, there's a technique, okay? Some of you may have tried just ripping the thing open, just like that. Tried stabbing it with a knife or even throwing it on the floor sometimes, but that's not the way to do it, okay? So what you're gonna wanna do with the tail is you actually take your hands like this, okay? You cross your fingers together, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the tail and you're gonna place it right here in your hands, okay? Like in the bone part, and just make sure it's nice and steady. And you cross your fingers and you just crack it open.
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
You see, I tell you, eating a lobster is pretty messy, so you're gonna wanna have a bib or something too at the same time. I actually have my napkins here, very important, because that thing squirts. Bruh. You just witnessed it. So anyway, so after that, you crack it open by pushing inwards, and you should hear a pretty loud crack, and then you can start ripping the shell apart, like so. You may want to be careful too, because the shell can be actually quite sharp. It should come off nice and easily, but if it doesn't, just crack the thing again. Make sure the juice doesn't squirt on you. And then, yeah, it should start ripping apart nicely. Whoop. Okay. I can start sipping on the juice too. And interesting fact, actually, this one is a female because you can see the eggs right here. The red stuff, that's eggs. And it's actually pretty good too. So you're just gonna want to take out all the shells. Keep ripping. Oh my gosh. Oh, look at that, it's beautiful. Mmm, pretty good. You know, for people who don't like seafoods, I feel really bad because you're just missing out if you don't eat lobsters. It's like a gift from God, you know? And so like that, all the shell is cracked, and from this point on, you can just pull slowly while wiggling, and the tail should come off nice and neat, like so. So you just dip your tail into the sauce and just enjoy. Some people actually like to eat the egg part with garlic bread or rice. It's really good, but I just personally like to eat it just like that. I don't want to alter the natural taste of the lobster too much, so yeah. Oh my gosh, amazing. As you can see, I don't have any utensils apart from a fork that I use to mix my sauce. But yeah, I mean, eating lobster is all about getting messy, okay? I find that there are just some foods that you cannot eat with utensils, like ribs. Eating that with utensils, it just messes the fun of it, you know?
Oh yes, Daddy.
So freaking good. The meat is also pretty chewy. It's not rubbery like sometimes it can happen if you overcook the lobster. Well, this one is just right.
Psych!
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Make sure you also get every little part that squirts out because every single centimeter of the lobster is precious. You don't want to waste any of it. And what I like to do sometimes too with the tail is that I just like spread it open like this, just so it can have more surface of absorption for the sauce, and it makes it more juicy that way. Also makes it a little easier to chew too. Egg. It's like eating caviar. Make sure you dip it in really, really well there. And enjoy every inch of it.
That's what she said.
To enjoy the flavor even more, you can even close your eyes. It's pure heaven. Very good. Okay, once we get to this point where you only have the body, I crack the body open like this. In the head, there's actually more eggs and some white stuff, which is like soft meat, and it's really delicious. And as I mentioned a while ago, you can eat the eggs on a baguette bread or normal bread or with rice, whatever you prefer, but I prefer it natural with some lemon. Amazing. Such a blessing, man, to eat lobsters. Ooh, I got some juice on my pants. And I mean, if you don't get messy when you eat lobster, it's like I said, it's ruining the fun of it, so don't even worry about it. And what's nice too is that the place where I learned how to eat lobsters properly was a boat that was taking us on a ride on the ocean, and during the boat ride they taught us how to eat lobsters, and the teacher was like, y'all, you should not be afraid to get messy because eating lobster is all about getting messy. He didn't care about what he looked like, you know, didn't care about all the mess he made. He was just like, just enjoy it. No one's even watching you anyway when you eat, so don't let it get to you. And I've been to places like New Brunswick and Maine where they serve whole lobsters in restaurants and people literally eat with their hands. So yeah, eating lobster is all about having fun. Okay, so I'm pretty clean with the head now. You can get rid of that. And this part, which is like the lungs, I guess. I don't really know much about lobster anatomy, but I think it's the lungs or the filter that filters the water, whatever. It's pretty crappy to eat because the meat is like in between these really annoying pieces of bone that you need to like crack open, you know? They're like really small and it's really hard to get to the meat in between them. So I generally just pluck out whatever meat I can get and I don't even bother to dig really deep because it's really annoying. So I just let it drop into the sauce to soak a little bit while I work really hard to get all the rest of the meat out of the bones. Okay. So try to crack it open as much as possible to get as much meat as you can. But I mean, it's really not easy. You really have to work for it. I got a decent amount there. And as you're working on the lungs part, you can actually start eating the legs at the same time. For the legs, because the hole is really, really small, it's hard for you to go in with the lobster fork and just try to get the meat out. So what you can do is just get it by munching on the leg upwards to get the meat out. But like I said, it's still not easy. Eating the legs too is super annoying just because it's really hard to get the meat. And you may chew and chew, but all you do is not get anything. So once you feel like you're getting some meat, you can start sucking on the leg. But then again, there's not much meat in there, so it doesn't really matter if you like waste it.
Oh.
It bit me.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
See, you still have to be careful when you eat lobsters because, like I said in the beginning, the shell can still be pretty sharp. So yeah, just be careful because blood is not a part of the recipe, okay? Pretty good. And be careful because you might accidentally swallow a piece of shell and we don't want you to hurt your insides. This is actually the first time I'm using this fork just to get that little piece of meat right there. Ah, you see? Beautiful. Amazing. Oops. Shot my shot, but it didn't go in.
You suck.
Ooh, some more eggs. Free caviar. Finger looking good. At this point, I'm still trying to get the meat from the lungs, crack it open, and try to suck as much stuff as you can.
That's what she said.
And be careful that it doesn't pass right through your throat. You don't want to be choking on lobster. Okay, that's the best I can do. Let's see if using a fork actually helps. Sorry about the background noise. Kettle's boiling because coffee is important. Ooh, there's a piece of meat in here. I'm gonna try to get it. Okay, that didn't do much. Okay, I'm starting to get really annoyed with this, so I'm just gonna, you know, scrape it like so. I guess. I don't know. I just want to get the green stuff. I don't even know what the green stuff is anymore. I think it's like the intestines or something of the lobster. But regardless of what it is, it's pretty delicious. Sucking on it actually helps a little bit. Oh my gosh. Woo! This is a mouth workout, man.
Bruh.
This one looks like there's not much meat. This either. Haven't done so much sucking on the lobster before.
Two 2,000 years later.
Just suck the last parts out and separate the rest of the body from the claws too. That'll help. Okay, that should do it for the body. And the way I like to eat is that I always save the best for last, okay? For me personally, the best part of the lobster are the claws. Because I don't know, the meat is just different. It's like a little softer and just juicier. I don't know, it just tastes better overall than the rest of the lobster. So the way we eat the claws, pretty simple. I mean, there's nothing much to it except for the cracking part. That's the most annoying part. So in a lobster, you've probably noticed that the claws are different. This claw has sharp teeth like that. Okay, that's actually for cutting stuff. So you have to crack the fingers apart. And because this is the cutting claw, you're gonna want to take your napkin and protect your fingers from it so that you don't cut yourself. So as you can see, it just came out really nicely. And you separate it from the rest of the claw. Take this fin out. And you can either try to suck on the meat that's inside, or you can use the lobster fork to pluck it out. Now I'm using the fork because I tried sucking on it before and it never came out. And with a fork, it just works like a wonder. Look, there it is. Hey, hi. Obviously, you dip it in your sauce and you just... Amazing. Now, for the rest of the claw, you just crack the joints apart, but because this is the cutting claw, I want to protect my hands, okay? So you just twist the joints. It usually works, but it depends on the lobster. Ooh, this one's pretty sharp. Ah! Okay, so if that doesn't work, this is where the cracking tool comes in. So you just go to the joint here, like that, this one here, and you crack that in between of the cracker, like this. Crack, and you crack it until you feel it's easy enough to be removed, like so. And as you can see, the opening is still pretty small, so you're gonna want to crack the other joint open. Just twist it or something. Just do your best to separate it. Okay, like that. And probably the rest too, because there's also meat in there. And the longer you keep it, the harder it'll be to get all the meat out. So for this part, you use your lobster fork and and just get all the meat out. Just do some archaeological digging and get as much treasure out as you can. Yep, that should do it. Now there wasn't much meat in this one, but just plop it into your sauce and let it soak. Do the same thing for the other part of the claw. Just like that. Oop. Come on, dude. Don't be shy. Eating lobster is a really good workout, guys. It tests your patience too. Okay, so now that that's empty, you can get rid of it. And, oh, there's actually another part here. Now, obviously, you choose the biggest hole to get it out. And you do your best to get every single piece of meat out of there. Okay, now you see, I can see you through this hole. So that's good. And I usually take a break and eat it. Close your eyes. Let that flavor sink in every square inch of your tongue. And just savor the moment. Pretend like you're on the beach. And the waves are just, you know, crashing on the sand. While you got the sun blasting on your skin. Paradise. Oh man, that's so good. Okay, now this is the hardest part to crack in the claw because the shell here is actually pretty strong. So you're gonna want to put the shell between your cracker and really push down as hard as you can to crack that open. This one's really not that bad. But I remember one time my mom, she was cracking the shell, this part of the claw, she was cracking it open. The first time, the shell actually just flew across the table and landed like 20 feet away. And, ooh, that was scary. And the other time, she cracked the cracker. This metal thing, it broke because the shell was too hard. So yeah, fun incidents like that can happen when eating a lobster. And this claw was actually surprisingly easy to crack. So you can just pull the meat out and it should come out nice and neat like this. You see? You can still see the point of the claw. It's jiggling. Okay, sorry. I'm done playing with my food, okay? And there's still some white stuff inside here, and I want to get that out because it's really delicious too. And I can't do that with a fork, so I'm just gonna go with my finger. Just, you know. Get all of that white stuff. There you go. And again, dip it in there, and you just imagine yourself in the ocean once again. And you close your eyes.
Oh yeah.
Now you savor the moment. Carpe diem. Carpe diem, I say. With a lobster in hand. This is the life. Wonderful. I think I'll add lobsters to the list of foods I'll eat if I had the choice to eat only that food for the rest of my life. So my list goes like number 1, steak. Number 2, sushi. Number 3, ramen noodles. And number 4, lobster. I'm telling y'all, the claw was the best part of the lobster. And I'm hurting in this side of my lip, so I probably cut it while sucking on the shell. So be careful with that. My gosh. So you repeat the cracking steps with this other claw. Like all the extra stuff. You know. Okay. Crack the joint. really find that sweet spot of your cracker so you can crack properly. Just like so. And twist the shell so it's easier to be removed. Once again, be careful. Okay. And if you think it's like soft enough just for you to rip it apart, go ahead and do it. There you go. See, sometimes using your hands is so much easier than using tools. And you just dig all the meat out again, like that. I can't wait, so I'm just gonna eat it. Oh, so amazing. Y'all go ahead and comment down below what your list of foods that you're gonna eat if you were stuck eating only those foods for the rest of your life. Go ahead and comment them down below. I'm curious. And also, write in the comment section if you've ever eaten lobsters, or if you've never eaten lobsters and want to try. Because watching someone eating a whole lobster is like making you crave some. I know it's really random and weird. Or some people with like a more sensitive stomach can get like grossed out by watching someone eat a whole lobster. But you know, it can help people get interested in trying a new food out. Because I mean, like I said, if you've never eaten lobsters, you're truly missing out on life. Eating lobsters is just really one of the best things you can ever do for yourself. No exaggeration. There's still a little meat in this guy, so dig it out. So this claw is more round, right? Ooh. If there's extra juice, just pour it all out in your bowl or on your plate, or you can even just drink it. Whoa, okay, there was so much more juice than I expected, but yeah. Sometimes if you actually cook the lobster with an elastic around the claw, I suggest you don't drink the juice because it'll taste like rubber and it's kind of gross. So as I was saying, this claw is more round, the teeth. This claw is used for crushing. So you can actually just rip it open like that because it doesn't hurt. Okay, you don't need to protect your hands for this, and you just repeat the process. Just take your lobster fork and peel the meat out, dip it, eat it, enjoy it.
Oh, so good.
And yeah, take your cracker, crack it open, and just rip the shell apart until you get all that beautiful meat. Once again, be careful because there are some sharp parts in the shell. Oh no, I ripped the claw. That's okay. I'm gonna rip it apart when I chew it anyway. And yeah, just take it all out like so. Get rid of the shell. Dip the little baby into your lemon juice. The only downside with the shell is that sometimes this part, like I said, it can taste a little rubbery depending on if the lobster was cooked with elastics to keep them from biting at you when they're still alive, you know? So just make sure to boil your lobster without the elastics on the claws. To get rid of that rubbery taste, just soak it into your sauce as long as you can. But generally speaking, it doesn't taste that bad. Perfection. Perfection. Once again, I just like to rip the meat apart so that the absorption can be like maximized, you know, science. So just rip it all apart like that. And I actually like eating bite-sized stuff, so that's why I rip my meat apart. And then you just go ahead and savor the last bits of your lobster. So amazing. Mouthgasm. Another lobster recipe that I really love is how they cook it in Chinese restaurants. They like saute the pieces of lobsters still with the shell and with like this ginger sauce. So good. When I go to like a Chinese restaurant that serves them, you just cannot not order it. You'll be wasting your time. I know like it can be super expensive, but I'm telling you it's worth it. Yeah, so we just go ahead and finish. Oh god, that was sour. Whew.
You suck.
Whew, okay, I'm okay. So yeah, I was saying just go ahead and finish your lemon sauce. Just gulp it all down. Wipe your hands, then go wash them. And yeah, that's it. You're done eating your lobster. So just clean up after yourself, and I suggest that you actually throw all the shell out in a separate plastic bag instead of throwing it directly in your garbage can, because it does smell, obviously. It's seafood, right? So throw it in a separate garbage bag and throw it in your large garbage bin outside right after. So there you have it. That is how you eat a lobster, and I hope this tutorial helped you to hopefully know how to eat lobsters a little easier next time. Thank you all so much for watching, guys. I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to share, comment, like, subscribe if you want to, and go ahead and go out there and be random, because randomness is a lifestyle. So get on board with me and let's embrace it. I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye!